Kia ora te whānau, Grant Whitbourne back again with another quick language lesson for you in Te Reo Māori. Now, today's lesson is going to be a little bit different from usual. Often I'm doing some sort of grammar lessons for you, which work really well, but today we're actually going to look at some examples that come from a very, very long time ago, like I think hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So this is really going to be worth hanging around for. We're going to cover a whole bunch of examples, and then I'm going to give some further thoughts at the end. So please stick around to the end of this video because you're going to get a lot out of it. It's stuff that you won't typically find online. You won't find this on Facebook posts. You won't find it on Google searches. It's stuff that you probably only find in books, to be honest. So there's a lot of information here, so please do hang around to the end of the video. Now, if this is the first time that you've seen one of these videos, if this is the first time you've come across this channel, then please do hit the subscribe button down below underneath this video. It really helps for you and I to stay in touch with each other. You get notified when any of the new videos come out, and yeah, it really gives you an opportunity to talk with me. And if you want, I'd love to hear your thoughts, your questions, any queries that you've got down in the comments section. So on this video or any other videos, do feel free to comment down below, even if it's just to say kia ora. I'd love to hear from you, love to know where you're from and what you're all about. So today's lesson, as you can probably see from the title, we're going to be covering mehe. So it's going to be a bit of a grammar lesson, but the context and the examples we're going to use, like I said before, some very old examples. So I'm actually really excited to deliver this lesson for you today. So I just want to start off with a bit of a story though. So not long ago, I was I was at a mate's house and we were doing some 𝐿 work, and we're actually putting together a bit of a choreographed bit of work that we'd been practicing for a while, and some stuff that we'd learnt at a recent wānanga that we'd been to. So, it's all the sort of footwork and the work with the rākau. Our rākau in this instance were PVC pipe and an old broom handle, but hey, you do what you can with what you've got. So, we've been working at this for about an hour. Okay, we've been working for about an hour and we'd finally nailed it. And just as we nailed it, my mate's dad arrived, and he came out the back, and he was at this wānanga too. And he walked out and he saw us, and him and I were quite, my mate and I were quite, we were really buzzing because we'd finally nailed this. And I said to his dad, I said, "Oh, mehe manu," meaning like a bird. And he agreed. He was like, "Yeah, mehe manu." So it was really that moment that prompted this video, because I'd actually seen this phrase before elsewhere, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to share with you all some really cool examples of this. So, where do these examples come from? One of my favourite books, 𝐿𝐻𝐵𝐻, 𝐿𝐻𝐵𝐻. Definitely check it out online. You can grab yourself a copy. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here, and there are a number of sayings in here. So these are sayings. So these are sayings, sort of proverbs, all those sorts of things. Common phrases that potentially hundreds and hundreds of years old, that have been passed down from our tīpuna throughout the generations. And there's a number of phrases that actually use mehe. And I remembered seeing some of these, and I thought, geez, this would be a great opportunity to go through these and share them with you all at home. So what I'll do, there's really three parts to these. There's the actual saying, then there's the literal translation of what that means into English, and then thirdly, there's what that actually means. Because generally, these are metaphoric kind of things that they say one thing, but you can apply them in a different sort of way. So I'll jump across to the screencast like I normally do. We'll look at three columns, and I'll cover those three topics. So I'll jump over here. Please excuse me, I might have my head down here a little bit trying to read these, and I'm going to type them out for you so you can check them out as well. So the first one, mehe pipi tarai. Have I got it right? I do have it right. Which means like a pipi tarai. So what's a pipi tarai? A pipi tarai is a type of shell, a tusk shell. And what this means describes the whiteness of teeth. Uniho, your teeth. So, mehe pipi tarai describes the whiteness of your teeth, because the tusk shell, the shell that's being referred to here, has an unusual whiteness, and it was once used for necklaces. So when this was said, the context, although it was saying like this shell, people knew that the context of it was this shell was adorned for how white it was, that it was used as necklaces, and it could be said to refer to someone that has very, very white teeth in this instance. So that's the first one. The next one is mehe pu taratara, which means like a horn. Like a horn. Mehe pu taratara. And when we say horn, it's like a shell wind instrument. So I think it's almost like a conch shell. And what we're describing here is the quality of an orator's voice. And we're comparing that to this horn, the shell wind instrument. So, mehe pu taratara. We'd say it would be said when we're referring to someone, that's up there giving a whai kōrero, has a very strong quality of voice, perhaps a very strong presence about them. So that's the next one. This one's a little bit longer. Mehe rau I peke I te 𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻𝐿. Like a leaf shriveled by frost. I'm just going to give you a moment there to have a think about what you think that might mean. And I can probably guarantee that it's not what the metaphor is for. It's actually a bit of a sad one. So you think of a leaf shriveled up by the frost. So frost has affected this leaf and the leaf has shriveled up. It's actually used for bereaved parents that have lost their children. So it's a bit of a sadder one, I guess. Like a leaf shriveled by the frost, and metaphorically speaking, that can be likened to parents, or a parent that has lost their child or lost their children. Mehe rau I pepe I te haupapa. The next one. Mehe takapu ara ara. Like the belly of a trevally. So the trevally obviously being a fish. We're talking about the belly of a fish. So if you've ever been fishing, fish, generally the belly of them has a bit of sort of different, sorry, I'm losing my focus here, different sort of texture to the rest of the fish. So that is something as beautiful as the silvery belly of a freshly caught trevally. So we're talking about beauty in this instance. So this could be applied to anything that you see in the world that's beautiful. It could be a person, a natural object, something in the natural world. It could be a man-made object. It could be anything. And this is really, it comes back to this sort of whakaaro Māori, mehe takapu ara ara, like the belly of a trevally. And if you said that in English to someone, if you saw a beautiful a beautiful house, for instance, and you said that in English, and you said, "Oh, like the belly of a trevally," people would go, "Hey, what are you talking about?" But in this Te Ao Māori, in a Māori context, that actually does make sense. Another one, mehe tapa harakeke. So you probably know what a harakeke is, the flax plant, like the edge of a flax leaf. Like the edge of a flax leaf. And this is a metaphor used for something that is considered something very smooth. So the first thing that comes to mind when I hear the word smooth is, smooth as a baby's bum. So mehe tapahara keke, smooth as a baby's bum. Or in this case, smooth as the edge of a flax leaf. It is as smooth, or is like the edge of a flax leaf. It is that smooth. I'll probably just do one more here. There are quite a few in here, but I don't want to drag on this video for too long talking about all these examples. So, mehe wai ta ti eke, like the bath of a saddleback, which is a bird. Now, again, if you don't understand nature, if you don't understand what a saddleback is, if you don't understand the nature of a saddleback, this means nothing. This will mean nothing to you. Really, this is the sort of level of knowledge that our ancestors had of the natural world, and it comes down to an attribute of the saddleback bird. This is what this saying comes back to. So I'll just read through here, because this is quite a long one, and the example they give is quite interesting. This bird, once common in New Zealand, was known to keep sprinkling itself with water when bathing. So it would go down and bathe, and it would constantly spray itself with water to wash itself, as if overdoing it, as if, washing itself more than it actually needed to. And that's what this expression refers to. It refers to something done too often or overdone. Then it actually goes on to give another little example here, which I think is pretty cool. And I'll read it to you. So, and this is a note from the author of the author of this phrase in this book, and there are a number of authors in this book. So it says, this expression refers to something done too often or overdone. It was first heard, or Kohere, who's the author, first heard the expression when it was used by an uncle scolding a young aunt for the number of love letters she was receiving from a suitor, from someone that liked her. So just have a think about that for a second. You're sitting there in your family, in your family home, or the context of your family, and you see one of the young ladies in your family. You've been bombarded by all these love letters from a potential lover. And, we might say something like, oh, geez, he's still sending you those things. Hasn't he had enough of it? All those sorts of expressions that we might use. But in this case, he referred to the amount of, the uncle in this case referred to the amount of love letters that she was receiving with this saying, mehe wai tā ti eke, like the bath of a saddleback, which again, like I said when I first started writing this, means nothing if you don't have an understanding of Te Reo Māori, or you don't have this book and can't read it. But the act there of the bird, the saddleback bird, doing something, overwashing itself too much, is being related back to something so common. So like, not common, but something so trivial in life. This is such a specific piece of information within the natural world, within Te Reo Māori, that our ancestors knew, and it's just being applied almost just in a real sort of throwaway sense. Oh, geez, he's writing you too many bloody letters again. Far out. And yeah, I just think that the connection there between the two is, it really shows how natural these things were. And, for us, it takes a lot of learning, and to not only learn te reo, but then learn the meaning behind all these sayings. And we've got to study and research all these things now. Like at this modern age, that's what we have to do to get this information. Or we've got to go and speak to our old people to get this sort of information. Whereas only a few hundred years ago, a century or two ago, and probably not even that long ago, these were just natural, common phrases that people said a lot of the time. So yeah, they're the examples there. I'll just scroll back through them, and you can pause the video if you like, and take another shot on these. I'll even just try and zoom in a little bit more. I'll move my head. Just try and zoom in a bit more so you can see it a bit clearer. So, mehe pipitarai, being the shell there, describing the whiteness of teeth because that shell was so white. Mehe pu taratara, like a horn, like that shell, describing the quality of an orator's voice. Mehe rau I pepe I te haupapa, like the leaf shriveled by frost, talking about bereaved parents that have lost their children. Mehe takapu ara ara, like the belly of a trevally, talking about the beauty of something and likening that to the belly of a trevally. Mehe tapahara keke, like the edge of a flax leaf, used to describe something that is very, very smooth. And mehe 𝐼𝐸, like the bath of a saddleback, that bird who washes itself constantly and often, too often, overdoes it. Said of something done that's too often or too overdone. So they're the examples I'd like to give you today. So the next part of this video, I just wanted to give some of my thoughts. So you'll notice with these that when they're said obviously in the context of something. So if someone's overdoing something, you would say mehe 𝐼𝐸, and all we're doing there is talking about the saddleback. We're talking about the bird in this case, and we're likening it to this thing that's being overdone. But you notice that we don't actually have to say, we're only talking about the saddleback. We're not actually talking about the thing that's being overdone. And I think that really highlights the simplicity of Te Reo Māori and this idea that less is more. That's what I find a lot, and I hear it from a lot of people. Less is more in Te Reo Māori. We don't need to say, mehe 𝐼𝐸. We don't need to say, if we were saying this in Te Reo Māori, we don't need to say, the letters are being sent so frequently, it's as if, I would liken them to the over-bathing of the saddleback. We don't need to talk about the thing we're actually talking about. We only need to refer to the metaphor. We don't need to sort of combine the two. And yeah, like I said, that's a really, it comes down to the simplicity of what we're saying, and that less is actually more in Te Reo Māori. You can always say more by saying less. Like the belly of a trevally. We don't need to say, geez, that house is like the belly of a trevally. We just need to say, like the belly of a trevally. And we know that we're talking about beauty in this instance, and the context of what we're talking about, that house, that's what we're relaying the beauty of, or we're relating the beauty of the trevally's belly to. So just my little thought there at the end of this video. Less is more in Te Reo Māori. So that's really what I wanted to share with you. So if you've got any thoughts, if you've got any questions, if you need any clarifications on anything, if you just want to say hello, please do let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, what you've got to say, what your questions, and yeah, I'll be definitely responding to every single one of those. So thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you again next week.